There are moments in your journey when everything shifts. The silence you once moved in starts to tremble. The energy you once held quietly begins to pulse so strongly it reverberates through dimensions you cannot see with your physical eyes. This is one of those moments. Chosen one, you've stepped into an invisible battlefield, not because you chose war, but because your existence threatens the systems built on illusions. The spirit world has noticed you. Heaven recognizes you. Hell is alarmed by you, and the very vibration of your soul has stirred forces, both divine and dark, into motion. This message is not for the faint of heart. You are not here by accident. You've been guided, led, and placed exactly where your spirit needs to be at this very moment. If you feel the shift, the restlessness, the unseen movement in the atmosphere, it is not your imagination. It is alignment. Watch this video until the end, and in the comments, write your warmest wishes and 144 to call in the highest frequencies of favor and divine protection. Let's charge this space with pure intention and awaken the universal flow of blessings that have been waiting for your signal. Now, chosen one, show your light by liking this video and subscribe to the channel, and let's step into this together. You have triggered something in the unseen realm, and when you did, the ground beneath the shadows began to crack. You weren't meant to stay silent forever. You weren't born just to survive the noise. You were chosen to disrupt it. The spiritual energy around you is no longer dormant. Your prayers, your tears, your silence, your sacrifices, they built a signal, and that signal was heard by the heavens and feared by the dark. Because when a chosen one stops playing small and starts walking in truth, the spirit world is forced to respond. And now, you've activated a war zone. But don't fear the war, chosen one. You were made for this. You were chosen precisely because of your spiritual resilience. You weren't picked because you were perfect. You were picked because you carry power. Your soul remembers battles that your mind cannot recall. You were trained for this in realms beyond what the world understands. That's why the atmosphere shifts when you walk in the room. That's why people feel both drawn to you and intimidated by you. That's why chaos rises when you speak truth. You carry a vibration that wakes things up. You carry a light that reveals what others want to keep hidden. The spirit world does not move for everyone. But when you move, the unseen moves too. Every step you take in alignment sends a shockwave through the realms. Every time you forgive, rise again, or choose love over hate, the enemy trembles. You are not weak. You are wired with sacred codes. Your bloodline is spiritually encrypted. You're here because your ancestors prayed you into existence, and the divine has equipped you to finish what generations before you could only dream of starting. Understand this. The war you're feeling isn't punishment. It's confirmation. It's proof that you're no longer living in disguise. You've awakened. You've broken cycles. You've rejected the lies handed down by fear. And because of that, the darkness is reacting. But reaction is not power. Reaction is fear. The enemy doesn't attack the unthreatening. The resistance is real, not because you're off track, but because you're finally on it. You may feel like you're walking through fire right now. You may sense the pressure building around you. But chosen one, what feels like an attack is actually a refining. Fire doesn't just burn, it purifies. And right now, your light is being sharpened, your senses heightened, your discernment expanded. What was once hidden is being revealed. What was once dormant is being awakened. You are in the middle of a divine operation, and it's not about destruction. It's about preparation. Stay grounded, stay aware, but most of all, stay aligned. Don't react to what was designed to distract you. Don't bow to fear that was built on false authority. The spirit world may be in chaos around you, but within you, there is peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. That peace is your weapon. That presence is your shield. You are not alone in this war zone. The Most High walks with you. The ancestors whisper strength into your spirit. The angels are already stationed, guarding every move you make. This is not the time to shrink. This is not the moment to retreat. The pressure you're feeling is not there to break you. It's there to break through you. Something inside you is unlocking. A new power is rising. The energy you carry is shifting timelines, dismantling lies, and planting new realities rooted in truth. You're not just surviving this war, you're rewriting the story.
And it's only the beginning. There are forces watching you now. Not because you sought attention, not because you asked for recognition, but because when light is released into a dark room, everything in that space is forced to adjust. You, chosen one, are the light. And this world, with all its noise, distraction, illusions, and cycles, is being disrupted by your very existence. They sensed it before you fully did. The vibrations you emit, the purity, the fire, the truth. It shakes foundations that have stood for centuries. The spirit world has been stirred not by your words alone, but by your presence. You're not just walking through this life unaware. You've become aware. And when awareness hits a chosen one, the ground begins to shift. What you once tolerated, you now resist. What once controlled you, now fears your clarity. You're no longer accessible to confusion. You're no longer tied to what kept your ancestors bound. And this shift, this awakening, has created ripples in the spirit realm. That is why the resistance has increased. That is why the warfare feels more intense. Not because something is wrong, but because something within you is finally right. The realm of darkness doesn't just fight movement. It fights momentum. The moment you moved in truth, in purpose, in alignment, the moment you stopped shrinking and started expanding, the enemy recognized that it was too late to stop you. So it tried to scare you. It tried to send chaos. But fear is a smokescreen. Confusion is a trap. The spirit world reacts with distraction when divine momentum cannot be stopped. You've entered a realm of no return, and that's exactly where you belong. They didn't expect you to get this far. They didn't expect you to survive what was thrown at you. The attacks were supposed to take your light. The betrayals were meant to break you. The isolation was meant to silence you. But what happened? You awakened. You endured. You transformed. And now, you carry spiritual weight. Not the kind that people see on a stage, but the kind that angels salute in the silence. That's why the atmosphere bends when you move. That's why certain rooms feel heavy when you enter. The unseen knows your name now, and they know what happens when you show up. You've activated a war zone because your light is no longer contained. You used to dim yourself to fit in. You used to stay silent to be accepted. But not anymore. Now, you walk differently. You speak differently. You pray differently. And the realm of spirit knows. Something shifted in you that cannot be undone.
Your frequency has changed. Your signal is stronger. You're not walking in flesh alone anymore. You're moving in full spiritual awareness, and that's dangerous to darkness. But don't confuse resistance with defeat. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're being noticed because you're powerful. You're being observed because your steps carry destiny. Your words carry vibration. Your hands carry healing. And your soul carries divine instruction. That's why the warfare is tailored. That's why the struggle feels specific. The enemy studies purpose. It doesn't waste energy on distractions. It targets those who are marked. You are marked. You are chosen. And now you are awake. The atmosphere around you is responding to who you've become. Don't be surprised when people shift, when relationships dissolve, when access is denied. This is not rejection. This is realignment. Everything that cannot handle your elevation must fall away. You can't carry old weight into new dimensions. You can't take every voice into sacred spaces. And most of all, you can't allow anything to dim what you've fought so hard to ignite. Not now. Not after all you've overcome. This war zone is not the end. It is the middle. It is the confirmation that the next level is near. And chosen one, hear this. You are not fighting for a throne. You already carry it. You are not begging for favor. It's already yours. What you are walking through now is the shedding of what you thought you needed, the melting away of falsehood, the unmasking of what never belonged. So let it fall, let it burn, let it go. Because what's rising from the ashes is not just a new version of you. It is the true version. The one the world has been waiting for. The one the enemy tried to prevent. The one you were born to be. Stay the course. Breathe deeply. Let your spirit guide your steps. The war zone has been activated, yes, but so has your anointing. And nothing formed against that can prosper. The realm of the unseen doesn't just notice your actions, it studies your intention. The moment your heart aligned with your purpose, the vibrations you sent out into the spiritual atmosphere created a disruption. This isn't about coincidence. This is about consequence. There are consequences to waking up. There are reactions to stepping into your calling. And not all of those reactions are silent. Some are loud, chaotic, unsettling. But don't misinterpret the noise. The noise is proof that something has moved. You've shifted timelines. You've stepped into a dimension that few ever reach. And now, everything, seen and unseen, is adjusting around your new frequency. This war zone wasn't triggered by failure. It was triggered by your decision to succeed on a soul level. It was never about wealth, status, or applause. It was about truth. And the moment you embraced truth, you disrupted systems built on lies. You shattered illusions. You dismantled strongholds. And now, those old patterns are crumbling because you stopped feeding them with your energy. You stopped showing up in places where your spirit didn't belong. You started reclaiming your time, your peace, your vision. And that alone made you a warrior in the realm beyond. Chosen one, your awakening came with a ripple effect. You may think you're just one person, but spiritually, you're a force, a chain breaker, a light bearer, an atmosphere shifter. You don't just enter rooms, you elevate them. You don't just speak, you release. You don't just move, you open pathways. And every step you take in alignment with your divine calling causes entire systems in the spirit world to react, sometimes violently. But it's not about fear. It's about order. You are restoring divine order just by being who you were born to be. That's why some days feel heavier than others. That's why you feel exhausted, even after rest. You're not just carrying your own weight. You're carrying a spiritual assignment. You're not just living a normal life. You're transmitting energy, awakening others, shaking foundations. This isn't fatigue. This is transformation. Your spirit is doing deep work. Your presence is undoing decades of damage, generational pain, ancestral chains, karmic loops. All of that is breaking in your presence. And the spirit world has taken notice. Do not fear the intensity of what you feel. The pressure isn't here to crush you. It's here to forge you. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. Gold is not refined in the absence of fire. And your spirit is being shaped into something the world has never seen before. That's why isolation came. That's why betrayal came. That's why the battle feels internal and external at the same time. Because what is forming inside you is bigger than what is coming against you. You've already activated the war zone, but what you must understand now is that you also activated your divine protection. You didn't enter this space unguarded. You didn't step into this vibration alone. Heaven saw the reaction coming before you made your move. And you've been surrounded with favor, with force, with foresight. Even the delays were protection. Even the closed doors were redirections. Everything was part of the orchestration to ensure that when this battle arrived, you'd be ready, not just to survive, but to thrive through it. It's not about running from the fire. It's about standing in it with authority. It's about knowing that what's burning around you cannot touch what's eternal within you. Your spirit is untouchable when rooted in purpose. Your light cannot be extinguished by shadows that don't understand its origin. You came here encoded with a divine memory. And now that it's been activated, there is no turning back. You'll notice how things around you are shifting. People will reveal themselves. Energies will show their true nature. Environments will no longer feel comfortable. That's the war zone responding to your purity. It's not personal. It's spiritual. It's not punishment. It's placement. You are being positioned, aligned, recalibrated, and everything false must fall before you rise. So walk with awareness. Move with intention. Speak with precision. Protect your energy. Guard your peace. Because, chosen one, you're not just part of this war zone. You are the signal. You are the message. And your presence alone is a declaration. The light is here, and it will not bow. The atmosphere you're navigating now is not one of comfort. It's one of command. You're not just being asked to survive what's happening around you. You're being asked to transform through it. There is no retreat for the chosen. There is only revelation. Every challenge you face now is revealing something about your strength, your calling, your identity that was previously hidden. You are in a time of unveiling, and the war zone around you is a loud confirmation that the veil has been torn. The assignment is real, and the enemies of your progress are scrambling to keep you from seeing what's already yours. That's why the spirit world is reacting. It knows you're getting close. Too close. Close to unlocking what has been locked for generations. Close to becoming the version of you that fulfills every word spoken over your life. Close to living in full alignment with divine timing. This is why you're seeing attacks disguised as delays. Confusion disguised as options. People returning from your past with enticing offers wrapped in spiritual distractions. Make no mistake, every offer in this season is a test. Every distraction is a trap. And every moment of hesitation is costly when the spiritual terrain is this active. You must now be more spiritually awake than ever. Your discernment isn't optional. It's your shield. Your silence isn't weakness. It's your weapon. There are doors opening for you that can only be entered in spiritual stillness, not physical noise. And there are battles being fought for you that can only be won when you resist the urge to fight with your hands and start commanding with your energy. Because this isn't a physical war, it's energetic. The spirit world responds to frequency. And your frequency, chosen one, has become louder than ever before. You've been raised, elevated, lifted out of the fog you once called normal. And that spiritual elevation has made you visible to the forces that once ignored you. Before, they overlooked you. Now they obsess over you. Before, you were hidden in confusion. Now you shine with clarity. Before, you were drifting. Now you walk in alignment. And that shift has unsettled the system that thrived off your spiritual blindness. But you see now, and what you see cannot be unseen. You recognize patterns now. You feel the energy in people's voices. You sense deception before it's spoken. You can walk into a room and know the atmosphere is off before a single word is said. That's not paranoia, it's perception. That's the warrior in you, who has been trained in the dark to sense what others ignore in the light. You've been given a radar that picks up on frequencies others pretend don't exist. And that radar is what keeps you steps ahead, spiritually protected and divinely positioned. That's why it feels like you don't belong anywhere anymore. Because you don't. Not in the systems, not in the patterns, not in the environments you used to tolerate. That season is done. The old you cannot fit in this new vibration. And anyone trying to bring you back to what once was is being used, knowingly or unknowingly, as a spiritual distraction. This is your Warzone awareness. This is your clarity returning like fire in your bones. This is your vision sharpening until it slices through illusions. And it's uncomfortable. Yes, but it's divine. Because the Warzone wasn't activated to destroy you, it was activated to reveal you. You are now the one the enemy fears. Not because of your volume, but because of your vibration. Not because of your resources, but because of your revelation. Not because of your followers, but because of your faith. You are now a threat, because you no longer rely on appearances. You rely on divine insight. You no longer chase validation. You live from divine confirmation. You no longer beg for inclusion. You stand in divine separation. And that stance shakes kingdoms in the unseen realm. So keep your posture. Stay grounded. Don't respond to everything with emotion. Every battle doesn't deserve your reaction. Some battles exist only to distract you from the real war, within and above. Stay centered. Stay covered. Stay aligned. Because your position is sacred. And you weren't called into this war zone to prove your strength. You were called to prove your stability. You weren't sent here to panic. You were sent here to possess. And the spirit world knows that. They can sense what's coming before you fully see it. That's why they're trying to unsettle you now. Because if you stand still long enough, chosen one, you'll realize the territory is already yours. The truth is, this war zone didn't begin when you started speaking louder or moving differently. It began the moment you started remembering who you are. The moment you stopped letting fear write your story. The moment your eyes began to see through the veil of manipulation, distraction, and cycles. That's when the system shook. Because chosen ones who remember are chosen ones who move differently. And when you move differently, you cause everything in the spirit to shift. There is now a tension in the invisible realm because your very presence has become disruptive. You're no longer the quiet observer hoping to make it through. You're now the magnetic force shifting timelines, shaking foundations, and awakening people just by standing in your truth. That's power. And that power isn't tolerated, it's targeted. But even the attacks are a sign that you've become a spiritual catalyst. You've tapped into something that cannot be explained by logic alone. You're walking in a divine assignment that was etched into your soul long before you arrived here. And now that the awakening has activated fully within you, there is no going back. That's why the enemy is desperate. Not just to slow you down, but to discourage you before your impact multiplies. If they can't stop your light, they'll try to dim your hope. If they can't access your destiny, they'll try to wear down your discipline. But here's what they didn't expect. Your resilience is spiritual. Your persistence is powered by divine memory. You don't keep going because you're naive. You keep going because you've seen what's coming. You've heard the call. You've felt the undeniable pull in your soul that says, I wasn't made to blend in. I was made to break through. And that kind of inner conviction can't be dismantled by spiritual warfare. It only sharpens in pressure. The spirit world knows that. That's why the warfare is now layered, not just in your surroundings, but even in your thoughts. You may feel like the battle is outside of you, but much of the storm is psychological. That internal tug of war, the sudden heaviness, the moments where everything feels foggy, it's not random. It's calculated. They're trying to exhaust your spirit so you stop hearing the clarity that is rising within. But this is where your training matters. This is where you stay rooted. Because you are not just a participant in this war, you are a walking declaration. Every step you take in alignment is a spiritual announcement. I'm still here, still rising, still chosen. You're reminding the heavens and the darkness alike that purpose cannot be silenced. You're showing the realms above and beneath that your obedience is louder than their opposition. And don't think for a second that heaven hasn't noticed. The universe has already started responding to your stance. You may not see the rewards immediately, but they are stacking in silence. Your protection is stronger than you know. Your name has been marked in the spiritual realm, and there is favor walking beside you, even when it feels like you're standing alone. This is the paradox of the chosen one, to be isolated in the natural, but elevated in the supernatural. You're not waiting for breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You're not hoping for a shift. You are the shift. When you walk into a space, the frequency changes. When you speak, atmospheres respond. When you pray, portals open. You are no longer living from survival, but from sacred command. And when the spirit world reacts, it's because you've reminded it of your divine role. That's why it's critical that you don't fall back into old roles, old fears, or old distractions. Every time you entertain what's beneath you, you delay what's assigned to you. Every time you engage with noise, you silence the guidance that's been trying to reach you. Every time you go back, you forfeit the preparation that was meant to move you forward. So guard your mind, guard your peace, guard your frequency, because this isn't just another season. This is a spiritual milestone, a checkpoint of destiny. You've crossed into territory that can't be explained with the language of the world. And now that the spirit world has responded, you must respond with greater awareness, deeper discernment, and unshakable commitment. You are being watched by realms unseen, not to judge, but to witness what obedience looks like when a chosen one remembers who they are. The moment your spirit remembered, a signal was released, not just to the heavens, but to everything that had been assigned to either support you or resist you. There are no accidents in this war zone. The confusion, the pressure, the sudden intensity, it's all a response to your activation. And the truth is, this activation didn't begin today. It began in silence, in pain, in the quiet moments where you refused to let your soul give up. This war zone isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. A shift in your relationships, a heaviness in your chest, a sense that something is watching. That's because the spiritual world doesn't always attack with force. Sometimes it attacks with frequency. A vibration that tries to distort your inner clarity, that tries to make you question what you already know deep inside. You've been set apart. You've been entrusted with more than a dream. You've been entrusted with a divine instruction. That instruction isn't always comfortable, but it's always sacred. And as you move, the energies around you will either adjust or expose themselves. Don't be surprised when people begin to distance themselves from you. Your glow will irritate their shadows. Your alignment will disrupt their chaos. Your obedience will convict their rebellion. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Because when the universe begins to fund a chosen one's journey, it doesn't look like a blessing at first. It looks like loss. It looks like stillness. It looks like silence. But within that divine quiet is where the real miracles are arranged. This war zone may seem external, but the transformation is internal. You are being upgraded from the inside out, mindset, spirit, habits, vision. And make no mistake, the spirit world doesn't fear your past. It fears your potential. It fears what will happen when you finally believe the power inside you. Because once you stop second-guessing your voice, once you stop playing small, once you embrace the full divine fire in your soul, nothing and no one will be able to hold you back. That's when your words become weapons. That's when your presence becomes prophecy. That's why this pressure has come. It's not a punishment, it's a reaction. You've pierced the veil. You've shaken the matrix. And now the war is to keep you from walking fully in what's already yours. So the whispers will come, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. It's too late." But those are lies sent to delay you, sent to make you hesitate when heaven is shouting, "Now!" Don't give your attention to shadows. Don't water weeds. Don't dance with what you've already defeated. Your next move is sacred. Your next step is strategic. Even in moments where you feel unsure, know that something higher is guiding your pace. You've activated more than just a war zone. You've activated the unfolding of divine timing. The stage is being prepared. The rooms are being set. And your name is being whispered in places you haven't yet walked into. The attacks you're facing right now are confirmation, not of failure, but of proximity. You are closer than ever, closer to breakthrough, closer to visibility, closer to walking in the fullness of what was always meant for you. So take this moment, not as a setback, but as a summons, a spiritual call to armor up, tune in, and move forward with discernment. Because you weren't built to run, you were built to rise. And even though the war zone has been activated, the victory is already echoing in the unseen. All you have to do is keep going. Now that the veil has been torn and the atmosphere has shifted, you must understand. This isn't just spiritual warfare. It's spiritual intelligence. Every step you take from here must be intentional. You're not just walking through chaos, you're being called to walk through it with clarity. The spirit world has responded because it senses that something ancient, something divine, is finally being remembered inside of you. You've become a living code, a sacred disruption in a system that was built to silence the chosen. And now, you must move differently, not with fear, but with reverence. Not with doubt, but with trust. The path ahead may still be foggy, but your spirit has never been clearer. This war zone didn't come to stop you. It came to confirm you.